We are finally getting some more dramas this year, and I am loving it. We've already had a mixture of genres, and obviously I'm going to love all of those too, but dramas are my favorite. I knew nothing about this story going in, and I always butchered the name of the actual title of the film, so now I know how to say it. So, The Mauritanian is basically about the whole terrorist attack of 9/11 and the aftermath, but it's about one guy in particular, and his kind of code name in the movie is called Slahi, I think. And so this is what our main protagonist, and I would say the main protagonist is Jodie Foster, but we also get Benedict Cumberbatch's side of things as well. And he's a lieutenant in another branch, a part of the government that he works for. Jodie Foster, though, and Shailene Woodley, they're more a part of a legal defense team, and they're lawyers, and so they're tasked with having our other main protagonist, who is the guy who is accused of being the main recruiter for the people who were involved in the 9/11 attacks and actually were a part of the attack, with those intentions being they wanted to do it. That makes it then the movie's main focus of did he actually recruit these people, and did he want to? And from there we get to see not just how he handles things within his Guantanamo Bay cell, but how he deals with things maybe before the 9/11 attack in his younger life, and the life that he had before becoming a prisoner. Jodie Foster is now very high profile, not just as an actress herself, but as her character in the law firm in which she works at. And so she chooses all these top priority cases that some people may not agree with or want to take control of at all. They just kind of push it to the side. And so that being said, there is a lot of exposition that we need to learn and to keep track of at the start of this film, mainly in Act 1, carried into Act 2, etc. And now I don't necessarily like to talk about those aspects of the film reviews that I've been doing, so I haven't really, but this is one of those films where you do, because going in, I didn't know a single thing about this story. I didn't know anything about the real guy. I didn't know anything about the both sides of how these interrogations went. And so as you're learning about these redacted files, and now they're being uncovered to the public, especially in this cinematic way, we now get to really get the insight of how Jodie Foster deals with these types of cases. And so, again, though, if you miss any kind of dialogue or misunderstand what one department does over the other, then you might be slightly confused. And I bring that up because this is why I feel like this is the one case where exposition or heavy exposition may be okay, because it's needed in order to understand and move the story further. Without it, then we don't understand that and we get lost. So the Mauritanian himself is named Mohamedou. I don't know the last name of it. I would have to look it up. But just for namesake, I'm going to call him by his first name in the movie. And so with that being said, there is an amazing team up between Jodie Foster and Shailene Woodley. And so, like I said, you do get to see their version of working the case, and then you get to see Benedict Cumberbatch's version of solving the case, and he has his friend who is played by Zachary Levi, who is kind of there, not as a sidekick, but more so just someone who may know more than he seems, and eventually that gets, more developed throughout the story as it goes on. So they have kind of their own team up going on as well. But you do know eventually that they are going to meet up and have this confrontation moment. But also throughout the film, they have those confrontation moments face to face, and they also have it just by themselves. But they still kind of learn the same information, but they react to it very, very differently. So I loved that the film explored it, and I think that's why, as well, the runtime is a bit longer, because it's not just one person. It's one case, but it definitely hits home for a lot of people. Some are having a better time with it than others, but they do definitely show both sides, the negatives and the positives. What I also liked about this film as well is how real it feels. There's a lot of characters that are isolated, whether we're at the Guantanamo Bay prison or whether or not we are just in Albuquerque, New Mexico, or anywhere else that they go throughout the film. Everything seems very grounded. And so what I loved about this whole relationship is that Mohamedou is supposed to obviously convince more people that he is innocent than just Jodie Foster and Shailene Woodley. And that does affect them, not just personally and their teamwork together, but it does affect their careers as well and how people view them and what they're doing. And so they definitely do have to stay true to the very end. And seeing as Jodie Foster is an already kind of isolated person as well, you know that she will, and that no matter what, no one's going to stop her from taking on this case. And that's shown very early on in the film as well. And it keeps the pace going. There's definitely always moving parts to it. And it gives a chance for our character, Mohamedou, who is trying to fight for his life in a very powerful way, to where you yourself are kind of battling the fact that maybe he is innocent or maybe he isn't, and you just don't know until the film tells you, until the characters figure out what they need to, just like in any other mystery, thriller, drama. And that's something that I really did find myself engaging in thoroughly throughout. Having said all of that, now we do get to see Cumberbatch be more personal and have more of a personal life than Jodie Foster. Because Jodie Foster feels so isolated, we do know that she is more tied to her work, which even does, again, stress on, or becomes a stressor on her relationship with Shailene Woodley as well, and Mohamedou also. So there's just a bunch of external and internal forces that are kind of keeping all of these characters a part of the case as a whole, but are also tearing them apart from the case. And so they're fighting against that relationship as well as their own will to figure out whether or not he is innocent. There are also very clever ways as to get him outside of the cell and stay in the cell at the same time. Whenever the paranoia ticks in and whenever his faith may be starting to fail him a little bit, but again, it's always a constant reminder that he keeps. And because we do go back and forth between his past and where he is now, it definitely just helps, again, further develop this connection that maybe he is innocent, and what makes us believe that everybody who doubts him could be wrong. And it does become very powerful at the end. Again, I knew nothing about this story going into the film. Had really no idea that this movie was coming out up until the fact that the trailers came. And by the end, I really did almost get into a emotional crying state, because he was kept in Guantanamo Bay and they never charged him with a single crime. And that is something that just took a lot of time away from his life and from his family and his friends. And so you do get to find out what happens, and if you know the real story, then you may already know what's going to happen. But if you don't, again, no spoilers here, but they do keep him in prison for a very long time, and then you find out whether or not he wins or he loses his case. And all the relationships the movie explores, and the terror and interrogation that he had to go through based on his race and religion. And it was just a very well done, grounded drama that doesn't glamorize anything. To be completely honest, I don't have any nitpicks with this film, and I don't have a lot of negatives for it. I mean, the film knew what it wanted to be, and it does a great job of balancing, I think, the courtroom drama that it is. And I didn't want to use that word because I felt like I have said that recently, but it also does a good job of showing how it takes a toll on everybody, and keeps you on your toes on what you should believe and what you should digest right away, and what may take a little bit more time to digest, because there is a lot of information. So that I can see being the only real problem, is that there is a lot of information being thrown at you, and maybe it feels too rushed or too quick, or that they're moving around a lot, and maybe there should have been less characters than there were. But all the information gets us to the end of the film, and that's when you find out whether or not he gets free or if he stays in prison. And so that being said, I think the film did a great job, again, balancing all of these things. Also, one more thing before I do that, I do think people will want this film to be lighter or maybe more generalized for everyday movie-going audiences, but it's not that. It does kind of tip the border of a little bit of an independent side as well as a mainstream side of things, which I greatly appreciated, and another thing that I liked about the film as well. So my Letterboxd rating is going to be 3 stars out of 5. And then I am going to go pretty, voice crack there, but I am going to go pretty high with this rating, as this is one of the better films that I've seen of 2021 so far. Being a drama does help, but as a standalone of what the actual story is about, based on a true story, again, I love those films too. I definitely took it more seriously and thought more about it throughout the film and after. And I'm going to be giving it a 65% out of 100. And that being said, I'm very pleased with the score. It'll probably go higher next time I watch it, so like in the 70s. But as of now, I'm just going to go with the 65. And again, like I said, definitely one of the better films I've seen this year. So thank you guys so much for watching. This is my review and thoughts over the film The Mauritanian. And I didn't see it in theaters. I did do a $20 rental, but it is worth the money if you are interested in the story. But I would say go in blind if you don't know much about the story like I did. So that being said, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.